How's everyone doing today? And in this video, we are going to talk about the next celebration when it comes to all the characters and also events coming into the game. Yes, I'm a day late. I'm sorry, I wasn't able to make a video yesterday. But with that being said, we are going to look at all the characters, what they're able to do, what teams they're good on, if you should summon, and also the events as well that will be a part of this celebration. Now, one thing right before we get into the video is that subscribe, of course, about that, and also like the video, please. But the main thing I do want to talk about right before we get into this video is I know some people have looked at, or maybe not, maybe so, depending how deep you are into the Heaven Burns Red community, that there was a live stream for JP that changed a lot about, I guess you could say, the game, with there being a new rarity, with there being a, I guess you could say, nerf across the board for damage when it comes to overdrive looping not being a thing, if I'm not wrong. I'm not 100% sure on a lot of these things and the implications of them. I just know that for the most part, the JP side isn't as happy with these changes, which I understand for some of those changes why they would be unhappy. I really do want to talk with someone who has played JP for a very long time, and someone that could kind of guide me. I am already planning to talk to that person in order to understand fully, and then that way I can tell you, what these are, what's happening, what characters are impacted the most, what teams are impacted, and which characters are rising and lowering in value because of these changes, because that's gonna be a pretty big deal. A lot of y'all are probably gunning for maybe a specific character because you want to build a certain team, and maybe later down the line when the JP comes to global, when that update comes to global, they might not be that great. So we're gonna have to wait and see, and I definitely want to get that out to y'all as soon as possible, so I'll let y'all know when that video is coming. But let's go ahead and start talking about the characters themselves that will be a part of the celebration. We have Bungo here, who's going to be Thunder Pierce, and Bungo is going to have an AoE dispel. This is the main portion of her kit that is important. She removes 3 buffs from hit targets and it's AoE, so that means anybody on the field that you are going to be hitting, they're going to be losing 3 buffs, and that's pretty good because some of these enemies will be stacking, will be giving themselves defense up, which is a pretty big deal and allows you to just literally not worry about having to worry about attack up, defense up, which is really nice. Besides that, there really isn't anything crazy about this character in regards to looking at the AoE dispel itself, but looking at the next character, that's where it's going to be pretty important, which is going to be Miko. This will be the MVP of the banner at the current moment, because this Miko specifically, dang, I just spoiled it. This Miko specifically is going to be single target light defense down, which is going to be one of the more optimal and also one of the current meta light debuffers currently for JP. So this is a really strong light pickup if you are going to be rocking a light team. With that being said, the light team consists of, you can use Yuina, the brand new Captain Yuina. You can use Monaka, who is going to be, one of the main benefiters of the light team in the future. Alongside that, Yuina SS1 also works well with this Miko. There's just a lot of really great light characters that are definitely going to love this Miko. If you already have Yuki SS3, if I'm not wrong, which is the dress Yuki who gives super break, she is technically fighting for the same spot as this Miko, because they're both really good in providing additional utility to the team. But I guess you could say that this Miko is a little bit more universally loved because they have fragile and light defense down, which is pretty amazing. This is gonna allow you to skyrocket in damage once you put these debuffs on, and it's only a 10 SP skill, which isn't too bad in my honest opinion. She does have a heal as well, so she can work as a debuffer plus a healer, and she also can raise a max DP with the overheal of 20%, which is really strong, and I'm really glad that they have that as a thing. Even with her limit break 3 passive, she lowers her SP cost by 2, so that means this only costs 3 SP for a heal. Is kind of insane. And not only that, you also have this for 8 SP, which is really great. Allows you to do a double EX skill if you have the right amount of overdrive, which is really strong. So this Miko is going to be really great for light teams. Somebody that you really want to make sure that you grab if you are more dedicated towards light team than anything else. The next few characters are the big boys. This is the big characters coming into the game as well. SHARO and Maria are here. So SHARO being here is a pretty big deal. This will be our first overwriter of the game. Of course, we have a bunch of other overriders coming later down the line, but this is our first one with them giving us our Thunder rewrite. At the current moment, she's going to have AoE Thunder resist down overwrite, so she's going to take away resistance from the enemies. She's going to make them get I should say lose all the resistance to thunder or lose a portion of it, and then add fragile on top of it. So this is going to allow you to basically brute force any base mode enemy, anything you're looking at, when it comes to clearing content with a thunder team. If you have a thunder team and you have SHARO, this is legit gonna just allow you to brute force any side, any content, without having to worry about not having the right weakness, because you're always going to be hitting weakness because this SHARO is here. This SHARO also can use this at 0 SP, which is kind of insane, so you can literally use it at the start of the battle. Not only that, you're also with not only giving them the resist down, so they're going to have weakness to it, you're also hitting them with fragile, which is actually kind of insane, which allows you to just do a lot more damage together overall with SHARO. Now with her common skill, you are doing AoE Thunder Defense down, so she realistically can do quite a bit with a single turn of overdrive to be able to give, you know, the resist override, the fragile, plus also having the Thunder Defense down, which is all really good stuff. She's also going to be giving Thunder Party Attack up, which is pretty good, and then she's also at Limit Break 3 going to allow AoE Thunder Defense down by 18%, basically natively at the start of the turn if she's in the front line, which is really cool. Now, there are two things I want to talk about this SHARO, because she is a pretty important unit. One thing, if you have Inori, which if you already have Inori, you probably don't even really need to look at this for the most part, just because you're already have your overwrite character, because she legit just pierces through the game. If you have Inori, SHARO isn't really that high of a priority, nor are the other overwriters realistically, unless you just have a really good team for one of the elements. Like let's say you have a really good ice team, then you'll wait for the ice rewriter at that point. Or if you have a really good thunder team, then maybe Inori plus thunder equals, you know, you have two sides, you can just brute force whenever you want. There's a lot of different situations that a lot of people may have in their account at the current moment, but SHARO is a pretty big deal. If you don't have Inori, I think this is by far one of the characters. If you don't have Inori, yeah, you're probably looking at a bunch of overriders, because you have to keep on flipping through DPSs, flipping through teams to be able to clear content, because of course not every weakness is going to be part of every boss. And having a consistent element, having a consistent team that you can go back to clear any content with this SHARO is a pretty big deal. So for those that don't have Inori, this SHARO is going to be very, very important, just because she's able to give the thunder resist down and the thunder weakness, plus a fragile, plus a thunder defense down, which is pretty good. And then for those that don't have a thunder attacker, or maybe you're just starting the game or don't have too many Memoria, this Maria kind of acts like a DPS and also a healer in the same way. She gives frontline DP regen for 3 turns, which is a little bit. It could scale to a lot as the skill levels up. And then you also give yourself tokens, which is pretty cool. Based on the tokens that you have, you will be able to do an AoE attack, and of course the tokens are accounted on that. And then you also have a remove attack down status effect. I'm pretty sure this is, you know, very specific to certain bosses, not really the most craziest thing in the world, but the main thing is that she can work as a DPS plus a healer alongside SHARO. So if you don't have a thunder team, this banner overall can supply you with kind of half of the team. Not really, because you need 6 characters, but having a attacker and the overrider that works as a debuffer on the same team, and the attacker that works as a healer, you kind of got 4 roles in 1, or 4 roles in 2, based off of the characters that you're pulling off this banner. And then when we look at the limit breaks that you have, her passive, she's gonna give you 1 token whenever you give DP. So if you put this frontline regen, basically every turn you're getting a token up, which is really nice. And then for the limit break 1 is 1 SP plus, and limit break 3 you're gonna give yourself a thunder attack buff, which is gonna allow you to hit harder with Maria. She can be a good attacker when she is the only thunder attacker on your team or on your account, but overall the main MVP, as you may know, is going to be the Thunder SHARO. Now, as you may see, there are a couple of choices that you have to make here, and they're really specific on what characters you have on your account. If you're really towards light, or you really like light, Miko is probably going to be a pretty good character to look at, just because of all the amazing debuffs that she has, and also the fragile. The other thing to make note of is that if you really like Thunder, or if you want to make a Thunder team, SHARO is definitely going to be a character you really want. This is a very important character. Not as important if you have Inori, because of course you already have a character that can brute force most sides of many of the modes that are in the game. Inori is pretty cracked. And you don't necessarily have to worry about having to flip through a bunch of DPSs, because you always have that one character you can fall on for a very, very long time. Even up until current day JP, if I'm not wrong still. I don't know what the change is, if she's, you know, Nori's still the GOAT over there, but I'm pretty sure she's gonna still work very, very well for a very long time. So SHARO is very important, Miko is very important. The good thing about that is when we talk about the event, I'm gonna go into why this is kind of a win-win for everybody. For the event story, we are going to be getting the Minions Note and the Silver Watch. This is going to be a Bungo centered story, if I'm not wrong, which I would assume so, because she is literally the cover. Which is going to be really nice. And we're going to be getting a Nightmare login bonus, which is going to allow us to get a full 10 pull if you log in throughout all 10 days, which is really nice. And then the last one is going to be play limited time content to get tickets. Collect tickets for a special 10-role recruitment. And I'm assuming that this special 10-role recruitment is going to have SHARO. So there's a chance that many of y'all could get SHARO for free, which would be really freaking nice. But to talk about the event specifically, we are going to be getting a new score attack as always. And then we're going to be getting both of these banners at the same time. And remember what we got from one of those advancement notices is that whenever characters run at the same time, they share pity. They share the spark. So that means you could realistically go for any of these banners, and if you hit spark, you can pull the other one. So let's say if you are really into Thunder. If you're really into Thunder, you're going to pull on SHARO's banner. You have a chance to pull SHARO and you have a chance to pull Maria. Both really great characters that can work really well on Thunder teams. SHARO, of course, being the overrider that you want for Thunder. And let's say you get SHARO, which would be really nice. If not, then you can use your pity on SHARO. It's kind of a win-win, I guess, because that was your main goal for the most part. But let's say you're summoning for SHARO and you pull SHARO. That means with whatever pity you have left, you can move on to Miko's banner and literally just pick up Miko, which would mean that you are getting two top tier supports at the same time. You're pulling not only SHARO for the overwrite for Thunder, for your Thunder team, and you're also pulling Miko or getting her out of pity, just so that you can get a really nice light debuffer, so that when you get the chance to pull a light unit, you already have one of the premier debuffers for that team. She gets an additional turn, she gives fragile for 2 turns, and light defense down for 2 turns, and has pretty good SP consumption, even more so when she gets her limit break 3. So it's just a really good situation for most players, because now you're able to get both of these guys with the same pity if you're lucky enough to grab SHARO through regular means of pulling her, and then the same thing goes for Miko. So this is a really good thing for most players, that they're sharing a banner at the same time. The next one is going to be a Nightmare Step Up recruitment. If I am not wrong, they're probably going to do something again like they did last time with Ichigo and Aoi, where they probably have guaranteed rate up on the Maria, Miko, Bungo, and SHARO, which has a potential, or it's just probably going to be a guaranteed SS step up for, of course, paid courts, which could give you a chance at grabbing these guys. I'm gonna have to see about this 100% to figure out if that's gonna be worth it or not, but it's just really great that the pity between these two are shared, because you could technically just get both of these really good supports. They're going to refresh the SS guarantee recruit. Remember what I said, wait until November, October, one of those days, because that's the last day the puzzle pieces are going to allow you to exchange them for an SS, of course, and that will give you the most updated amount of characters that will be in the pool. There will be more characters, so remember that there will be a lower chance to pull every character, but you will have the more recent units, one of the more busted units in the game. So realistically, SHARO Miko will not be part of that banner, because it has to be, the banner has to have already passed, plus a month has to pass. So that means that whenever this banner, I guess you could say, leaves or gets refreshed on September, that's when these characters will enter the pool. So that's why if you really want these high tier supports and get a chance to grab them for free, you really do want to wait till your puzzle pieces are about to expire. We're going to see the Charlotta's Nightmare ticket recruitment. I'm still assuming that SHARO Overwrite is a part of this banner, but we'll have to see. Thunder element banner, not necessarily anything crazy, and a nightmare premium pack, which is of course Sharo and Maria specific 10 rolls. Same thing goes for Miko too. So this I guess you say event with the new story, really nice. I'm sad that we didn't get a recommendation story event. I really do think they should be rolling those out every single patch, because it gives us something to grind besides orb bosses and tiers. But we have a new story event, which is really nice, and then we have the 2 banners with absolutely amazing characters, Miko for light and Sharo for thunder. So other than that, that's going to be for it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you on the next one, and peace.